Al, I love you so much.
We're getting married!
So are you and Graham talking anymore?
No. His family, on the other hand, I miss them.
Hiya, sweetie. We're so excited that you're coming for Christmas.
I can't come home this year.
I'm sorry. I have a deadline. You know what? I think this is about Allie because
She ripped out my heart, stomped on it?
Okay. Surprise!
Graham, what are you doing here?
I found all of these in the back closet.
What are you doing here?
I thought you said he was working.
Is that Allie?
Shut up.
You're kind of freaking out.
You invited my ex-fiance to Christmas.
You know, I really should go.
You're not going anywhere.
I have to get Mom and Dad to dump Allie. Otherwise, I'm gonna be sharing my family forever.
Oh my God.
My family will work up the courage to ask you to leave before Christmas morning.
Do you want to bed?
You're gone.
Or you're gone?
Fam, how do we feel about a game night tonight?
Oh, you were fooled. I think I'm done with game night.
I had a feeling your competitive spirit might get you into a little bit of trouble. Gotta pee. No! Where's the buzzer?
Does it have to be crazy this entire holiday?
Surrender anytime you want.
Never.
So, either one of you dating?
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Here's my number.
Between us girls, not going to be a fun night for you.
They're passive-aggressively hating each other.
How about that?
But I think that they actually love each other. It's quite confusing.
Times change, and if you don't change with them, you're gonna end up marrying your own hands.
I'm sorry. I screwed up.
We both did.
I hate your bangs. I'm starting to realize where we went wrong. And I think that I can forgive you.
What is wrong with our son?
Welcome back to another Stocking Stuffer. We are chugging along the Christmas train. We are flying over houses and dropping down presents, and those presents are in the form of cozy cardigan Christmas movies. And today, I am joined by, you've been asking for her, I assume. I'm pre-recording this, but I just assume. Everybody's like, when's Christine coming on? And she's here now!
I'm here! I made it! I got down that chimney, and I popped out that fireplace, and now I'm here to talk about this weird-ass movie.
Oh, you're on fire. You're on fire. Quick.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
It's from the movie. It's too hot.
It's very hot in this movie. Watch out for space heaters. Watch out for, I have such a fear of space heaters, by the way. It's a legitimate fear. Like, I'm not going to say it's like an irrational fear, like the way I'm irrationally scared of caterpillars and ventriloquist dummies. Every time I see a space heater, I'm like, that's a fire hazard. That's going to be a problem.
It is. They're not allowed in most modern offices because of that.
Exactly. So there is a space heater cameo in today's movie. I need to be really clear about today's movie, because if you look for it, if I said this movie is called EXmas, there's 1,001 ways you can find a movie called EXmas. Christine, throw some out there. How would you go ahead and look for a movie called EXmas? How would you spell it?
I would search for it on like the internet, and I might spell it a certain way.
Well, how would you spell it?
Well, I spell Xmas with like XMAS.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were trying to do some kind of fun play on words, maybe you would spell it EX.
You might. And if I said, it's the movie is EXmas, like X, like as in former boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, I'll look for it. Nope. Well, then, Christine, you might end up finding, you pull that up on your little Roku and you search, and then suddenly you say, wait, which movie did Emily say? Was it Merry Xmas? Was it Merry X-Mas? Was it Merry X-EX-Mas? Or was it just Merry X, no E, no dash miss? Or was it hashtag Xmas? Or was it hashtag EXmas? Seriously, there are at least 10 different, very close variations on this title. So I really hope we watched the same movie.
I think we did. I did have a flash where we didn't. But I really feel like they mined this whole like X Christmas thing, considering there's just so many variations on it.
Yeah, did you watch, was it the Ex-Girlfriends of Christmas or 12 X's
we
of Christmas?
watched
That one, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways you can go about it. And this one goes about it in a very particular way. This is a BuzzFeed production? Did you catch that in the credits?
I did. It sounded like somebody just murdered me. I'm so sorry. I did see that in the credits. This is a very weird movie. It's also on Freevee.
Yes, which is in
like
itself a strange
Amazon,
thing.
right?
So Freevee is like Amazon's commercial I'm confused on how it all works, but yes.
Okay.
Freevee is part of Amazon. Most people started using Freevee over the summer when Jury Duty aired there.
Mm-hmm.
And since then it's become like, I don't know. I guess they're doing some original content. I don't think it was made for Freevee. I think it was like made and then that's where it ended up. I guess.
Yeah. I think so too.
It's all very strange. And if you're ever worried as you watch this movie, like there's commercials during it. Not many though, actually. I feel like I only had one round of commercials.
It wasn't that bad, yeah.
No, it wasn't bad at all, except the commercial was for this movie, which was very strange.
So it's a newer movie. It's from this year,
2023.
It's on Freevee. So it is accessible if you want to watch it.
Absolutely, without paying.
This is not my... I mean, as evidenced by the fact that Emily does this time of year and I don't. This is not my favorite kind of movie. Mm-hmm. So the selling point for me was Leighton Meester.
I figured.
And Robbie Amell. I don't know how to say his last name right. But he's super handsome. And they're
super handsome, and he was very funny in The Babysitter.
Oh! Arguably, in my opinion, the best thing in The Babysitter.
I didn't like The Babysitter that much, but I remember him absolutely like stealing every one of his scenes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he's real funny in this too, but well, I have so much more to say.
There's a lot to say. So before we get into the plot, we'll just give the background. So again, a BuzzFeed production, question mark. Directed by Jonah Feingold. Definitely sounds like somebody I would peg as directing a Christmas movie. Who's done other stuff, nothing I knew, as I pull him up on IMDb again to look. A lot of stuff, nothing I have heard of. I think most of it's Canadian.
Yeah, nothing I've heard of either.
Yeah. And written by Dan Steele, who has a sexy name, and wrote for Gossip Girl.
I hope that's his real name. Dan Steele, I love your name.
Yeah. Did you watch Gossip Girl?
I didn't. It's been really coming up in the zeitgeist lately.
Yeah, oddly enough.
But I didn't. You know, he wrote on Faking It, too, which is an MTV show I am more familiar with than Gossip Girl.
I watched the first, I think, 2 years of Gossip Girl, and for me, the best thing about it was Leighton Meester, without question. She played Blair Waldorf, and she was kind of like your Queen Bee, type A, mean girl, but she was so good at it. It was one of those things too, like you look back and you're like, oh yeah, like she was mean, but she was usually right, that kind of thing too. So, and again, aside from the fact that I still can't tell the difference between Leighton Meester and Minka Kelly, I do really like Leighton Meester, and I am always happy to see her show up in things. So her as the lead in a Christmas movie that Christine wanted to watch, why not? Why not? What could go wrong?
Good pick, right?
Mm-hmm. So, tell the people, the plot of this movie. And again, you can spoil things because I think we all can figure out the ending.
Look, I'm gonna go against the grain, and I'm just gonna give you the IMDb. Graham, who is Robbie Amell, surprises his family at Christmas only to discover his ex-fiancée, Leighton Meester, is already celebrating the holiday with his family when he arrives.
What?
Can you believe it?
What?
So, Robbie, whose name is Graham, and I'm going to start calling him that. So Graham and Allie were dating. I think they were engaged.
They were engaged because there was a flashback to him popping the question.
Yep. So she breaks up with him, and it's like, it ends up being a reveal, like why or whatever.
But is it? Like, I still don't really understand why they broke up.
Well, that's actually one of my criticisms of the movie. So they break up. She breaks up with him. They go their separate ways. Blah blah blah. It kind of the movie opens with her looking longingly at a Christmas card she got from his family, saying like, "I'm gonna break up with the guy, but not the family." And then he's going through his own thing, and his family's like, "Oh, we love Christmas. Come see us." And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna." So that's why the family says, Leighton Meester, aka Allie, come over and hang out with us. So now they're both there, and that's when it's like, what you expect to happen happens.
Hijinks,
they're mean to each other, but they also want to. I'm making the sex motion with my hand.
I can feel it from here. Well, like, I guess they kind of make a deal or a bet as to like, isn't at one point it's like, okay, one of us is going to get to keep coming back for Christmas and the other one isn't. So whoever wins the week or something. Is that a plot point? It felt like a plot point, but then it kind of went away.
I think so. What I remember is that the gentleman, his stance was, I'm going to make them hate you. So they make you leave.
Right.
But I don't know if there was an additional, like, and you'll never be allowed back, or if, like, the implied was, I'm going to make my family turn on you so you no longer feel welcome here.
Instead, he almost kills his father.
That is a thing that happened.
Fucking movie. So, there was a lot here, Christine. There was a lot. And I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is like, it's following the rules, we're getting things, but it's clearly for a more slightly sassier audience. Like, it's, I don't know what the TV rating was, but there are sex jokes, there are penis jokes.
Yeah.
There is implied, like, threesomes, there's a whole lot of things going on. But it's, like, still very lighthearted in a way that, I don't know, like, it is meant to be funny, it's meant to be, like, a little meaner, but still, like, ultimately, okay, I know it's going to be a romance, blah, blah, blah. And then it turns into, like, the beginning of Ever After, where Michael Hitchcock, as, like, the lovable but COVID-denying dad, has a heart attack, and for, like, 5 minutes, I'm like, they fucking killed him.
I really thought they did for a second, too.
Because, like, so they're playing hockey because it's one of the things where it's like, I don't know, I feel like at this point there's a bet going on of who's going to win at hockey, I guess. And Michael Hitchcock goes down and has a heart attack, and Graham is giving him CPR for, like, it's like a good 2 minutes of him pumping on his chest and pumping on his chest.
It's dramatic, for sure.
Yeah, and they actually say, like, no pulse, no pulse. And you're like, there was a minute where I could not decide, would it be the greatest thing in the world if he dies? Or would it be the worst thing in the world if he dies? For me, not for the movie.
Yeah, I was kind of, I hadn't written it off as a possibility because, like you mentioned, this movie takes a really strange tone. Yeah, because it and I think this is what's going to make going through, the list kind of interesting / difficult because it does a lot of tropic things. Like,
very much.
At one point, one of the notes I wrote was the tropes are troping. Like, it does a lot of, like, the cozy, hallmarky shit that you would expect. But then
she's a fucking baker.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the stuff is there, but then it's like, dick joke, my dad's almost dead, and it then starts to feel like an adult comedy. So it's a really weird balance of things. Like, you wouldn't expect such, like, wholesome, hallmarky stuff to be in this movie. That I genuinely laughed at a couple things in this movie.
Me too.
I thought there were some actual funny jokes. And Leighton Meester is a gem, and we've already said that Robbie Amell's hysterical. Like, it's that they're not what's wrong with this movie. Sometimes the pacing is weird and the jokes go on too long. But, like, I think for me, it was that not knowing what kind of movie I was watching was what made it hard for me. Yeah,
and I wish it was even, like, if it was going to kind of commit to not committing, I wish it did that with bigger swings.
Yeah.
Like, I wish it kind of went for, like, opening on her baking cookies and, like, doing a cute thing, and then suddenly, I don't know, like, taking out a dildo. Like, and, like, that wouldn't be out of line for this movie, but yet it does it. Like, so it's this weird push-pull, and I kind of respect that, but I wish it just went a little further, but also, like, took something and grounded it. Like, if one of them, if maybe Graham was, like, actually done as a sweet Hallmark guy, but everything else around him was a little bit escalated, it could have like really worked. But it doesn't, because this movie I don't think really understood or had decided exactly what it wanted to do. I'm guessing it's also one of those things where like, while filming, they were going one way, and then maybe in the editing room, they pulled back here and there, or they pushed harder here and there. And so it's very weirdly inconsistent in a way that's kind of interesting. But I don't know that for me it was as satisfying. Because my biggest problem is that as much as like, I like both of these actors, I liked watching them. They're both beautiful. They're both funny. They both have really good climbing timing. But I thought both of them were assholes.
That's another thing. I didn't necessarily understand that choice because it's so, again, wholesome and hallmarky and very of this genre, to then couple it with people who, with so much of it just people being crappy to each other or people being like disappointed or upset, is just kind of like, this is strange. So that's kind of when Michael Hitchcock is dead for a minute or whatever, I was like, well, this is going to be the catalyst that makes Robbie realized that he wasn't good to Leighton. He wasn't prioritizing her properly. And now he's going to make amends and they're going to get back together. Obviously that inevitably happens because that's what the movie would do. But I thought him dying was going to be why. I mean, him almost dying, I think was enough. But it was so strange.
It was weird. It was very, very strange. So with that, let's dive in, because I think there's a lot more that's going to come up as we go through it. So the first thing being our lead need of a lesson. And it's kind of like, it's a twofer. I think, they're equally billed in this. It's really both of their stories. We're introduced first to Allie, so we'll start there. So Leighton Meester, who, again, we both love. They introduce it as like, okay, well, we start with her. So I think we kind of think that it's her story and we should be on her side. And yeah, it does seem sad that her boyfriend is, or fiance, that they're not together, but she loves the family, and she just seems really sad. But then quickly you're like, yeah, but you're also kind of a cunt.
I don't know that I had as much problem with her. What did she do that? I'm trying to think of a thing specifically.
Well, the entire act of like, so I can't believe I didn't catch it, but I'm guessing she has a dead mom and a dad who's married to like a young something. Because so she's with her friends in the opening scene and they're like talking about Christmas. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not here. So what are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, well, nothing, because my dad is with his new wife and
like I
guess I'm just going to be sad and dream about having a food truck." Which, is what you do in these movies. So instead, like, okay, like, I'm sad that she's lonely, but I feel like she had options. There's that. So she decides she's going to go to the family of her ex, which, again, like, I don't know, seems like a weird thing to do, especially because she is the one that broke up with him. And I know the whole thing is that we don't think he's going back because he's a workaholic, but still, it's a weird thing. And then when she's there, she's just kind of mean. Right?
I think that her showing up, period, is going to be pretty divisive.
Yeah.
I don't know that I had a super strong feeling about her going to his. I mean, they invited her, and they were together for 5 years, so she considers them extended family. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm not as weirded out by it, but like I could definitely see somebody being like, oh, that is, my boundaries have been pushed and I don't like that. So yeah, that wasn't the best. And then there is the thing when they're playing games where she gets real fired up and like he's like, I knew you'd be an asshole in front of them, kind of thing. But that to me again is just more of this movie kind of telling like meaner adult jokes.
And it is, I'll tell you, it's the second movie of the year that has a like very competitive female character who gets too into board games, because that was also in Mistletoe in Montana. And again, as a female who gets really competitive when I play board games, like maybe it's that I see myself and I know it's not a pretty picture. Maybe it's that. I don't know. But like I don't know, she's just kind of. And the thing too, I think, is that she's just really mean to Graham the entire time. And the other thing, So then we get sort of like not Bee's love stories, but there's other love interests that are introduced. There's
Yes.
Brady, who is the head salesman at Michael Hitchcock's car lot, who also was Graham's rival in high school. And then there's Jess, who's just some chick that shows up. And Allie is like very quickly like, oh, Brady, who's hot, but who's also like very clearly somebody that riles Graham because Graham has this like, insecurity with him. And, like, she's just kind of, I don't know, like, I thought all of the way she acted with him, like, if my friend was doing that in front of her ex, I'd be like, hey, that's kind of fucked up.
I think for me, both of them were being so ridiculous that I can't point fingers at anybody. Because the weird thing, and you kind of hinted at it, the weird thing is that it really does kind of pretend it's going to be Leighton Meester's movie, and then it really is about the male character.
He has the arc. Yeah, I mean, he's the one that makes a decision. And
so I sometimes was left feeling like, what are they even doing with her? Like, what journey am I on with her? Because it felt like she was just kind of spinning her wheels. And like, just, I think they were set up as like rivals so that like they could continue to just be funny and mean to each other, which is a strange backdrop for this type of movie.
Very true.
Just two people being antagonistic for 2 hours or however long.
Well, let's move into then number 2, our bland love interest, which in this case is kind of your also lead in need of a lesson. So Graham, who I guess has the Christmas name of anybody in here, right? Like, because you use graham crackers to
graham crackers.
You do, right?
I mean, you could.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, I do. So, Graham. Okay. Graham's job is video game
Graham's job is video games, and that's all I can tell you about it, and that's all I know, because it was very strange and not at all how they make video games, because I'm married to somebody who makes video games.
What was the other movie that, oh gosh, came out in the last few years where it was like, we have a video game that has to get released before Christmas, and it was one of those things where it's like, no, that's not how it works.
I don't remember.
Oh man, it was something like, it might have been a Christmas movie, I don't remember. But it's become the thing of like how to make a character cool, but also like have a job that nobody understands. I guess
nobody understands. So you can just have him clicking on a mouse and be like, yeah, I'm working on that video game.
Yeah, and when you meet him, like. His like third line of dialogue is just like, you know me, I work. Work.
So she's a baker who wanted more from their relationship, and he's a guy who works too much. And that is the entirety of their character development.
Yes.
I mean, which you could argue is enough for this kind of movie. And I mean, fair.
True. No, that's very fair. But like, what did so if she wants to own her own food truck, you need money to do that. So maybe appreciate your partner, like working.
That was all. See, again, and now we're in the situation where we've been presented with just enough detail that we need to know more, and we don't have it.
You're right.
So now I have way too many questions, because I did say something like, and then I'm not to jump ahead, but then at the end he buys her a food truok after a year, and I was like, why didn't they just go out and buy that first thing?
Because I mean, it's not a big food truck. Like it looks like a zip car food truck, right? Like it's that little tiny car that like you can parallel park in New York really easily. Like, what are you baking in there? Not much.
Yeah, I guess she's just bringing it around to local areas, but it's tough because you want to flesh out the world, right? And you want me to like know things about these characters, but now you've got the tiniest food truck and somebody sitting on a laptop saying they're doing a video game, and I'm like, I don't think you know what's going on.
Well, and that too. So the end, because we get a coda and then we get a second coda, but in the coda we find out Graham now works for himself. And this is a thing movies are doing, and I am tired of it. It's this whole like, if you love something, let your passion be your job. It's the whole, like, right, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Except actually, no. If you love something and you decide to turn it into your job, you will not love that thing anymore because it becomes work. And
it's your job, yes.
Yeah. And in this case, it's more like, oh, he works for himself now. So how does he have any time for anything? Because if you're running your own business, that takes up a hell of a lot more time than clocking into work and saying, okay, my hours are over now.
It's definitely used as like a fix-all kind of
Yeah.
solution in
Yep.
these kinds of movies.
Yeah. It's like being an architect in these movies. We don't really know what architects do, but we know that you work in a big office and carry around a big prop that's convenient. So we're going to make you an architect.
And you might make a lot of money. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
these like these shell occupations where we can just tell you enough. But the tech ones are always tough because like I'm looking at what you're working with and I don't think it's right.
I know enough about it to know you don't know
I know
about
that this
it.
is wrong.
Yes. So number 3 is our setting, typically a big bad city, a charming small town, or a magical winter wonderland. Where are they? Did they tell
They're
us?
in like Missouri or something.
Did they say it?
Yeah, he's at the airport or like picking up a car or something,
Okay.
and that tells us that they've left. I think they're in LA.
They're definitely in LA to start, or definitely in
and then
California.
They come to like where he's from, so Missouri, Montana. I can't remember. So I say
Same difference,
small
right?
town.
Small town. Oh, it's a small town, definitely.
I don't. Yeah, so small town. I mean, it does. It does all the small town stuff, like local bar or like place we used to go to, familiar people. So yeah.
So number 4 is the dead parent or dead wife.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, almost
And maybe and almost. I'm mad at myself. I almost debated because I watched this. I guess it was Monday and Tuesday morning, and today is Wednesday. And I debated today. I was like, "Damn it! I never found out if her mother was dead. I should rewatch the beginning to see if she actually says it out loud." Because I've been trying to timestamp exactly at what point in the movie we hear about the dead parent. So I missed it. It might have been there, but both you and I missed it. So I don't know if it was actually spoken out loud. But it doesn't matter because, like, trump card right here, we almost get Michael Hitchcock dying.
Yeah. Very dramatically in an ice rink.
Yeah, but a day later, he's back home?
Running!
Or is it the same day?
Same day. Running.
He's back home, running, out of breath. I was very worried for him at that point. I'm like, well, if he didn't die then, he's definitely going to die in the montage.
Definitely.
All right, so number 5 is our sassy sidekick. Typically a coworker, friend, sister, somebody who wears big earrings, somebody who wears big sweaters, perhaps.
I'm so excited about this.
All right, tell me about our sidekicks.
The sister, right?
Yeah.
The gay. So Robbie Amell's character has a lesbian sister who's just a delight.
She's great.
Very funny.
Yep, and so is the younger brother. I really liked him too.
Not in it enough. Yeah.
No, and every time he came in, every like he had a lot of the kind of like I don't know what you'd call them, just the little like deadpan like ringer lines, and every time I chuckled at what he said. Yeah, so that's fun to have that. Number 6 is our evil woman, or our also often evil boss. I guess Robbie's boss is evil and kind of a dick, right?
Yeah. Can I pitch you on this?
Please.
The evil woman and the male boss obsessed with the bottom line are our protagonists.
Yes.
And they have to stop being that way in order to be happy at Christmas with each other.
Man, it's the last like 2 years, I have not had a good villain. And I'm watching this, and it's making me even madder because Leighton Meester can play mean so well.
Yep.
And I will take one of those Christmas movies that Hallmark used to bang out 10 years ago all the time of big city lawyer who's going to destroy a town, basically Cruella de Vil who ends up having a memory lapse and, falls in love with magical Santa Falls. I will take a movie of that with Leighton Meester. Just to get those early scenes of her being mean. Because she's so great at being mean, and we don't get enough of it.
No, I feel like some of those like classic setups have really gone away because we're trying to be fresh. We don't want to just recycle the same stuff, which I love, but then you end up, you don't make any slashers anymore. But you don't make any evil ladies, business lady movies.
It's a shame. I miss a tight bun. I really do. So we also, I guess we have like our other sidekick slash like potentially villains of the partners of would be partners of Graham and Allie.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and they're fun. I kind of liked where some of that went.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, so Brady is Michael Hitchcock's like right-hand man at the car lot, and again, like he's hot. He's very tall. And there's a great scene where, like, Allie's trying to get the moves on him, like, she thinks it's going somewhere, and then she realizes he's just trying to sell her a car.
Yep,
that made
funny.
me laugh. That did make
very
me
funny.
laugh. Number 7 is our montage, and we have a few of them.
There are some montages in here, but not like your typical decking the halls montage.
No.
Necessarily.
No, not really. Yeah. There's one
cool.
that's a bit seasonal, but most of them aren't. I think the first one's a game night, and I feel like that was scored to some music, but I might have been wrong. Is that the one? I wrote down some of the music, but I can't remember which was which.
Yeah, the music didn't actually stick out to me. I don't have any notes about the music,
Yeah,
and I really tried to take copious notes this time.
Oh, wonderful. We'll get to the details of that. But yeah, so there's a game night montage. There's like a breakup. There's the engagement was an actual scene, and we'll get there later. But there is a breakup montage that's doing like that time lapse thing.
Yeah, that honestly, I felt like I got a lot of information from that.
Yeah.
Lots of good stories.
They did convey it, even though I still didn't. Again, I didn't really understand why they broke up, but I don't pick up on vibes well. We have a Bake Off montage.
Yep.
That has a good kind of stinger at the end.
Very, very silly.
I really actually, we'll get there, I guess, when we talk about secret recipes, because I thought that was going in a different direction. Hockey game, which is very frantic and ends in a heart attack. And then again, another scene that I did actually laugh quite a bit at was the getting to the airport montage.
That was very funny. Yes, it had a good payoff.
Yeah, so can you set that up for the folks at home?
So Robbie has decided that he loves Leighton Meester and he wants to be with her. And his family is like, yes, you're so right. Go to the airport right now. We're going to go with you. And so he's like, oh, I guess you're going to go with me. So all of them are rushing to get ready and get everything together and get out to the car. All these people, 5 people, 6 people, I don't know, 5 people run into the car, and then they open the door and like Leighton Meester's just standing right there.
Yep. Well, and also they get in the one car and the car doesn't start. So then they're getting in the other car.
Stupid.
And like they're like still tying their shoes, and Robbie's like, come on guys. And they're playing Hallelujah. So it's very frantic.
Yeah. And his dad, who has just had a heart attack, running around.
Which was worrisome. That made me uncomfortable. But aside from that, it was actually very
delightful.
Very
funny. Yeah. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I thought it was a clever way of kind of playing with that trope.
Yeah.
And number 8 is slapstick, of which there's a little bit.
There is a little bit, isn't there?
There is. Obviously, we have the hockey game that then gets very dark.
Yeah, that's what jumps out immediately.
Mm-hmm. We get kind of this ongoing joke that I guess we'll go here is the his parents kind of being when they're drunk and sort of like this constant them saying the wrong. The mom is played by Catherine Greenwood, who's very funny in this.
Yes.
I mean, not all of her lines are as funny as she makes them. I think she really like works hard to make this work. And she just is one of those, like, doesn't understand a lot of, like, sexual innuendo and thinks it's, like, casual talk. So there's that. We get an establishment of, how messed up things are for Graham when we're introduced to him. Do you remember, like, the first shot of him? It's pretty gross.
I don't think so.
It's him on his couch.
Oh.
With, like, a laptop on his chest as he eats like Chinese takeout above it. Like it's just one of those like where like okay, I get when you're trying to make a character like slovenly, but it's also like unbecoming. I don't want to see that.
It was so funny though because then he immediately spills the food all over himself. It was just really that was when I like my first big laugh, I think, and I was like, "Oh, we're laughing early." You're a Toulouse movie. You're a Toulouse.
We get toilet overflow.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous.
And again, like one of those things where I'm like, Allie is a cunt. Like,
You're right. She at one point, so she hides the little sign that says to like hold the flusher down when you flush, so the toilet overflows, and all you see is her like running out of the bathroom with the plunger, so later she could run in with the plunger and be a hero. And it is a dick move, but at that point the sister was like, oh, you're such a hero. Like, it was so funny.
it was funny, yeah.
I don't know, I think I liked this movie.
There's nothing wrong with that. We
God.
also had a goat attack.
Oh, the goat, that was stupid.
It was very stupid. Like, look, I get being afraid of unreasonable animals. I said earlier, for some reason, I don't like to publicly say it because I'm scared somebody who doesn't like me will like mail me a box of them. I have a thing about caterpillars. They freak me out. Fuzzy caterpillars make me like squirm. Goats are adorable, but goats can be pretty badass if they want to be.
Sure.
But there is Allie's like weird secret fear is goats, and there is a goat coming after her, and it's very upsetting. But also kind of cute because goats are pretty cute.
Yes. He puts goat feed in her pocket, everybody.
Yes,
and then
he does.
It's very fun. Everybody should watch this movie.
All right, sage old people.
The parents.
Yeah. I think, Jeannie is there to get, she talks up the relationship, gives some advice about her marriage, which seems very happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Sadly, we don't have a real Santa Claus.
It's so interesting. For all the tropes that we get, there's this weird inversion, and then we don't get Santa.
Like, it would have just, I don't know, like, I feel like this movie could have just had him, like, at the end when Robbie, like, pulls up in the food truck that, like, Santa walks by and, like, sprinkles it and makes it bigger, makes it like an actual truck and not a go-kart. That would have been great.
I have a real love-hate relationship with Santa randomly doing magic things in these movies.
Reasonable.
Like, it's such a cop-out, and I don't like it. But then also when it happens, I'm like, why not, right?
Why not?
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. If we can't have Santa magic at Christmas, when can we have Santa magic?
When can you?
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, so moving on. So again, like kind of missing some things, but it's there. This is a Cozy Cardigan Christmas movie with the cardigan kind of torn, I guess.
Sure. It's a very hip cardigan.
This is such a hipster cardigan. Oh gosh, yeah. And it's like one of those ones that you get from like H&M or Cheyenne. Like it's one that like you see on Facebook and you click the ad and then you get it and then it falls apart the first time you wash it.
Yep.
Like this is kind of that. So the bonus rounds. The first thing is the music. So, do we have a lot of public domain Christmas carols, and what else do we have? So we do get Jingle Bells early on when he's coming home from the airport. Mm-hmm. When I think when he discovers that Allie is there, it's a really intense Carol of the Bells.
Yep, I do remember that now.
And then my favorite thing that comes up now is when you get the word salad Christmas songs.
I know what you mean. I think there was one in one of the ones we watched last year.
Yeah, oh yes, there definitely was in Christmas Kids too. This one definitely had one. Actually, this one I think I don't know if these were two different songs or the same with different lyrics, but the words I caught from it was "Buy yourself a Christmas tree, mistletoe for you and me." Ah.
All right.
And this was like a whole song. All I want for Christmas is that maybe. All I want for Christmas is my baby. You can keep your Christmas bows white and blue because all I want is you. Yeah. White and blue, like what a Christmas bow isn't blue. Like a Hanukkah bow might be blue, but a Christmas bow is not usually blue. Yes, it rhymes with you, but other words do too, like the word too, which I just said.
Yeah, I'm sure if you got creative, you could even come up with a color.
Yeah, I feel like for all of these, like, I maybe that's the next movie that I want. I want the movie about the character who dreams of writing word salad Christmas songs for these kinds of movies and gets her dream at the end.
That's very meta. I would love that. I
know. Let's do it. All right, so number 2 is our either secret family recipe and or needlessly complicated holiday-themed cocktail. We get some recipe. We get some baking.
We do. Mm-hmm. It is a huge part of this character's personality.
Yes, she is a baker. Let us not forget that she is a baker. It's very important that everybody remember she's a baker. Yeah, which is a very hard thing to be in California, I guess.
Again, he waited a year to get her that truck. He could have gotten it right away. She had a whole story in LA Weekly.
Well, but I'm so confused too, because that was the whole thing, was that, like, he finds out because Jeannie has saved the article from LA Weekly about Allie not opening up her own thing, but I thought she just, like, took over a cafe as, like, the new baker at this cafe, and that was the write-up. Because then Graham was like, oh, wow, you left your job to bake full-time. That's great, but you're still not working for yourself? He says accusingly.
Yeah, I do remember that now. I thought that was very strange because I guess I was like, oh, I guess I don't know what she does either at this point. I thought she was just like, I thought she was an activated baker who was actively baking in her very beautiful home.
No, I think she is a, like what is the opposite of active but not full opposite of active? Like, she is a stationary baker. She is I'm trying to do it like, active yeast, instant yeast. Whatever the equivalent of that is, like the yeast that's sitting in my fridge that I can't just use in a recipe. I have to, like, mix it with water to get to bread. I think that's what she is.
Inactivated
yeast. That's definitely it. But so there is a recipe scene where they're like, oh, who's like, Allie, are you going to make your famous cookies? And she does, but Graham is trying to sabotage her, so he takes all the butter. So Allie goes to the garage.
I forgot about this. Yeah.
And
this movie is jam-packed with things.
So what does she use in place of traditional butter?
So she goes into the fridge, and honestly, this is good because in other movies it would have been like semen or something. And she gets like a jar of butter, and I was like, oh God, what's wrong with this butter? And then quickly I'm like, oh, this is going to be Michael Hitchcock's drug butter because he has back problems. So he does edibles at the house. So this is like a THC infused butter. Mm-hmm. And at one point, so they get all high and it's very funny. But Leighton Meester, she's like, I used this thick butter. And she said THC is thick. And it made me laugh so hard. Like, I like when people say acronyms. It was very funny to me.
I really thought the reveal was that it was going to be boy butter.
Yeah, I thought it was semen.
You thought, wait, who's keeping semen in a jar in the fridge?
I don't know, because they did like dick jokes and sex jokes. So I was like, all right, so we're doing semen jokes. Let's do some jizz jokes. And I thought that's what they were. So when it was really butter, I was like, oh good, I'm glad that was really butter.
I really thought it was going to be like the most surprising reveal, because like boy butter has become like a famous brand, like the advertiser RuPaul. I thought it was going to be like, whoa, our product placement is boy butter, but no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was THC butter, which again, I'm not a huge fan of like drug scenes, but like everybody was very cute and funny.
Yes, it's cute. It's handled well, I thought. Let's see. Next is the small business in danger, which I guess we don't really get. Right? There's no.
No, her business is never in danger.
No, it's a good point.
It's funny though, because it's still an element, right? Both of them having their own businesses, starting small businesses is still like in there, which is interesting and weird.
Yes, because for her it makes a little bit of sense, just because it's like, okay, baking. I know what it means to want to be a baker in charge of yourself. Okay, great. I don't know what it means to want to be your own game developer.
I'm not really sure what he's getting into out there.
Like, it just seems like something you can't just easily start one day and activate and raise a family in California on such a dream, if you will. Now, product placement.
Yep.
Okay. So
this I made notes on.
Yes, I can't wait to hear them. We do not get boy butter, although I thought we did. I got a commercial for EXmas while watching EXmas, so product placement of its own movie inside of itself. What are some of the products you caught?
So, K Jewelers.
Yes, you are Christine. I wrote in my notes, Christine appearance equals K Jewelers.
Yep.
Because second year in a row, I have never seen K Jewelers in a Christmas movie before until I met you.
I was so excited.
Me too.
I yelled, oh, is this going to be another K Jewelers commercial? Because the other one was like legit.
Yes.
Like, K Jewelers said, here's some money.
Yes, every Christmas kiss begins with K Jewelers.
Yeah. But also ADT, which was very strange.
Wait, what?
ADT, security.
Oh.
When what's his face that works at the car dealership is like, wait a second, I just have to lock up. He grabs his phone and it just pauses on a big bright screen of like in the ADT app, I guess. And I was like, oh, ADT threw in some money too. Good for them.
Why not? Why not?
Yep. That's my note. Good for them.
Yeah. There was a lot of Heineken drank throughout the movie.
So much Heineken.
Lots of Heineken.
Yep.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out if the like big box store that they were in was something, because it looked instead like they were in a Walmart or it's like an Ace Hardware, but that they didn't get permission or didn't get the name, so they just made sure to cut underneath any logo. Like it was all filmed at like a weird angle to where you're like, I feel like I should see the ceiling, but I don't see the ceiling.
It was very nondescript. For sure.
So my theory, since this is a BuzzFeed movie, is that like, you know, like BuzzFeed probably sells ad space to millions of companies on the site, and this was the like bump up in tier. Like, look, I know that you're Heineken. You usually advertise on our like, you know, our listicles of best Macaulay Culkin movies you've never seen, but instead, what if you chip in a little more and we feature you heavily in EXmas?
I mean, I'm sold.
Obviously.
Where do I sign?
Now, I think that was all the products. Yeah. So number
you're tuned into music. I'm over here spotting logos.
Well
like,
done.
82.
And now I know what that means. Number 5, Cloying Child. I don't think we had any children in the movie at all.
No, none, I don't think.
Yeah. Again, I'm seeing that more and more because, again, kids are expensive because you got to get tutors and permission and all that. And a lot of times it's easier just to not. But number 6, so Finding the Perfect Christmas Tree. There's a twist on that, is there not? Because it's not a Christmas tree that they have to keep finding.
Oh, the baby Jesus thing.
Thing.
That is funny as well. Somebody keeps stealing baby Jesus from the manger, so they have to go and replace it. You know how you can just go to a store, usually
an Ace Hardware that isn't an Ace Hardware.
But like, the baby Jesuses are picked over. So somebody had glued stuff on like a big rubber duck. So it's a rubber duck with like a Jesus beard and like a little robe. And also there's a T-Rex baby Jesus. It was very absurd, but also funny. It was absurd, and it was one. And I wondered if that was written or if that was just the actors improvising, because it felt really like, okay, guys, here's the bin, just go for it. Like, it had that energy to it. Yeah. And it was where, like, you really also got to see the two of them as comic timing, as, like, they know what they're doing in a comic scene. Because it was, that I did laugh out loud. Not just at the concept, but the way they played that moment. It was very funny, yeah. Okay, number 7, empty coffee cup acting. This is my favorite, and I did not see it. I didn't either, and that's shocking. And I feel like there's definitely, like, mugs being held, but I think they actually, again, like, this is maybe the dividing line between the actors in the Hallmark movies and real actors like Leighton Meester and Michael Hitchcock. Like, they've done real movies. They know that if you're holding a coffee cup, you pretend it has weight, and you act as if there is weight in that coffee cup. So, yeah, good job. Good job here, folks. Number 8, actors trying very hard to not actually eat, but to take a bite on camera. I think they were drinking this entire movie. Yeah, and at the beginning, Leighton takes like a very aggressive bite out of a cookie, and I was like, oh, she's chewing that cookie. And the camera stayed on her. It was like, no, you're going to chew. And then it was kind of weird, because you're like, you're going to chew and you're going to swallow. And it got weird. Got really weird, yeah. But now, like, anytime they were drinking, it looked like they were drinking. So great. All that Heineken did not go to waste. Number 9, Canadianisms, or obvious notes that this movie was not filmed on location. A lot of these actors are Canadian when I was going through their IMDb's. I think you can hear it here and there. Yes, definitely. Yeah. I thought I could too. But there wasn't anything that like screamed to me that they were like on the streets of Vancouver, which does happen, and you're like, wait a second. Yes, it does. Sometimes literally. Yeah, sometimes there will be a sign that says Ontario. I don't think so. I felt like they were keeping things, like you mentioned about the store. everybody was real deliberate
Yeah.
about what I was and wasn't seeing.
Yep. And I think in terms of like accents, like you had like Michael Hitchcock and Catherine Greenwood doing very like Midwestern accents of some kind, to where they just sort of like helped like disorientate you to where you had no idea where you were, but you knew you were in the middle of the country somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, number 10, warm weather watch.
It didn't look cold.
It did not look cold. And yet they go ice fishing.
Yeah, they did go ice fishing.
I feel like there was a scene of like very fake snow, like a dividing line of snow and green grass.
Yeah.
And to me, like, yeah, like I was like, okay, well, they're not saying where they are. They started in California. But then when they go ice fishing and they're complaining about being freezing and dying of cold, but yet nobody's wearing a coat, they're only wearing vests over long sleeve shirts. That's where I got a little mad.
Yeah, it definitely did not. The weight of the cold was not present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 11, old people aggressively matchmaking our leads. I mean, oddly enough, like, it seemed like Jeannie and Dennis didn't really care if Graham and Allie stayed together. They just wanted to keep Allie as, like, part of the family.
Yeah, it seemed like they were super happy about it because they like her, but they weren't, like, being weird, which is nice, because sometimes it's like, ew.
It's weird, yeah. And similarly, because we find out Mindy and her girlfriend broke up. But actually, let's talk about that coda. Because... So Mindy seems secretive, so we know something's going on, and then we find out that, like, yeah, her and her girlfriend broke up, and we don't really know why. We get a coda that's 1 year later, where the family goes to visit California, where Allie and Graham have set up life. And Mindy brings the girl she met at the bar in this movie. So it's like, oh, here's my new girlfriend. And then we get another coda that's 1 year later, where Mindy shows up, and surprise, Graham has invited Mindy's ex of 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that
I didn't like that. I thought that was ridiculous and unnecessary. Like, okay, so in the context of the movie, which is not real life, I thought it was a terrible thing for a brother to do. I didn't think it was necessary or appropriate, and it wasn't even her fault that Leighton Meester came in the first place. So, like, why lash out at her? But then, just as, like, from, like, a storytelling standpoint, I didn't find it additive, and it seemed needlessly, like, vindictive. Again, because she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and it also, like, loaded this weird thing where we saw, you know, and this is in the course of 5 seconds, that a year ago, she had moved on. She was with somebody else. And now it's a year later, and now, again, we have no idea what happened that year, or 2 years now, but, like, I don't know. The idea that my ex-boyfriend from 2 years ago, my brother decides I should get back with him after a second relationship and whoever knows what else. Like, again, it's where this movie, because it is smart in a lot of ways when it makes choices, it's hard for, like, somebody, I mean, okay, for people that decided to do a podcast on the movie to not overthink them.
Yeah, definitely. I even before we were talking, I caught myself, like, wondering these really weird things that I guess didn't matter. But when you present me with this level of information, I'm going to want follow-up.
Right, especially when it's like the last beat of the movie is, oh my god, you invited my EXmas to EXmas? You're like, okay, and it's fine if they do EXmas 2, starring Veronica Slowitz-Goska. Sure, great, okay, I guess that's what we'll do. But I don't think that's what it was going to do. I think it was just there as a punchline, and it felt weird to end the movie that way.
Yeah, I agree. It just was, I didn't think it was additive.
Yeah. But don't worry, we don't end our discussion that way, because we get to my new favorite, Fashion Watch.
I didn't see this on the list, and I didn't pay attention to anything anybody was wearing. No, it's my fault. I only skimmed it because I thought I had seen everything that was different.
You know what? I should have done like a different font or italics for new things.
No, you don't have to highlight the new
Next year
things.
I'll do red. No, I'm sorry. I'll do blue and white ribbons, as according to the Christmas tradition song says. Yeah. So I've been watching and I'm just trying to find fashion things that pop out. So we get some Christmas sweaters. We get also, like, Graham Graham lost his luggage, so he has to wear
that's
like
true.
Michael Hitchcock's clothes. There is a funny I forgot about this, but the moment where Graham the whole time is like, "I'm so sorry, I don't have your Christmas presents because they lost my luggage," and then Brady, the car salesman, brings his luggage because that's apparently a thing that you do if you're a volunteer for the Knights of Columbus. And so, of course, they're excited of like, "Oh, good, Graham, you can give us our presents now." And he got everybody neck pillows.
That was very funny.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a neck pillow, and I love my neck pillow, so don't knock them until you try them.
Yeah, it's not a terrible gift.
It's a great gift. Mine's pink and polka dotted, though, so that I won't lose it easily. But my fashion moment for this.
Okay.
I thought when we have a Christmas party in this movie. It's not a ball, right? We don't have the big glitz and glam of Christmas prom, but we do get a Christmas party, so everybody's a little snazzed up. And Jeannie is wearing this gold top that is like sort of how do you describe it? Like it's not like pirate sleeves, but it's kind of like droopy sleeves. It's gold. It has like, is it like the pussy bow on there? Like the nice, like big bow at the top.
What? I think I can picture this now. Yeah.
I thought that was, as a woman who is getting older, I like to see what fashionable older women wear and figure out what I can make work. And I thought to myself, I might be able to make that work.
So you were just looking for like fashion inspo?
Yeah, I mean, there's like Leighton Meester in a really cute like summer sort of like what do you call it? Like linen white dress, culottes thingy, and I'm like, oh, she's really pretty. I could never wear that. I would sweat right through it, and it'd be disgusting. But then there's Catherine Greenwood in like a snazzy gold lame outfit. I'm like, yeah, all right, I got that.
That I can do.
Yeah, let me see if they who do they think for wardrobe because I got to find that. Yeah, so overall then. We've come to the end of the list. So my final question to you, Christine, do you recommend EXmas, EXmas? I
think that I do.
It's been a journey.
It has been a journey. Sometimes it's not perfect, and there are probably better Christmas movies that you can watch. But if you're in the mood and you like Leighton Meester, I feel like it really delivers on that front.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I feel like if this needed more of something, it needed a little more definition to Leighton Meester's character, just because I know she can bring more, and I feel like she didn't quite get to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it was funny. It was funny. And
yeah.
Like, I did laugh, and I wasn't, like, personally offended or, like, bored watching it, so you could definitely do worse. So where does it rank for you as far as, like, I mean, because you're the expert here.
Yeah, but this is, like, outside of the wheelhouse, because it falls into the category, but it also, I think, kind of sits to the edge of it because the same person sitting down to watch Lifetime, It's a Wonderful Lifetime, might watch 5 minutes of this movie and say, oh, absolutely not. But it's doing this, like, you would not have this movie in this format if you did not have the success of those movies in that format.
For real, it is so reliant on that genre, that subgenre, and it's just really interesting that it was like, but no, we're gonna do totally different things.
Yeah, it's sort of like a cool. I don't know like what the word for it is, but like a sort of slight adaptation of that genre and that style and that tone. For the BuzzFeed audience, I guess. Just like twist it a little bit, with a little more adult, a little more risque, but still like firmly in line with these things so that you might not turn it on at like Christmas at your grandma's, but you can have it on after everybody's watched Hallmark movies and like the few adults still drinking are awake. Hey, let's watch this one. Like, I feel like it fits in there. And I'm not going to watch this again, but I did laugh. I found a lot of it very funny. I mean, Michael Hitchcock is always great. Catherine Greenwood was very funny. There were things in it that worked. The cast was fantastic. And there were some really clever, well, comedically timed things. For me, just that I wish I liked the characters more. I just wish the characters weren't such jerks.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying there.
Yeah, but it's not the actor's fault, and they're delightful to watch. So, and everybody's very pretty.
Yeah, it's a good one of these. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, Christine, what are you watching the rest of the season? Are you gonna, dive into the Hallmark train, or do you? Is it Muppets and up from here?
Probably not. I watched Home Alone, and I'll be watching The Night Before, which is my Christmas tradition. It's Michael Shannon.
I still have not seen that.
I lead with Michael Shannon. It's literally Seth Rogen. No, Seth Rogen.
No, but you know your audience. You're saying that to get me to watch it.
There are so many people in it, but yeah, that's my Christmas movie. And other than that, I just really haven't dived in, except for this, which is something I wanted to watch with you.
Well, thank you for bringing your candy cane sprinkle and THC boy butter in my corner. It's always appreciated.
You're very welcome.
Yay.
Baby Jesus, you look so cute. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. Your lovely tiny feet and cute smile. Oh my God, baby Jesus. Baby Jesus, see your tiny feet. Who would know these feet will walk on water? Who would know that this little baby would one day raise the dead to life? Angels are singing in the sky. Angels are telling the news of your birth. Shepherds are walking down the hill. Shepherds will come and worship you. Baby Jesus, perfect bundle of joy, as you lay there just like a baby. Who would have known that you're the Son of God? Who would have known you're the Savior of the world? Yes, baby Jesus, you came from heaven. You are fully human and fully God. But for right now, you are just a baby, a bundle